Imagine your bathroom scale has a strange feature. It slowly re-zeros itself to your average weight over the past year. Gain a pound a month, every single month, and the scale keeps adjusting its idea of zero upward, right behind you. Step on it after a year of steady weight gain, and it tells you everything is about normal. The scale is not broken. Nobody is tampering with it. It is doing exactly what it was mathematically built to do. Now for the uncomfortable news. The core statistical yardsticks that govern our global interest rates, bank safety rules, Social Security raises, and public pensions are built on this exact same mechanism. Each of these systems defines normal as an average of the recent past, and an average of the recent past is automatically forced to chase whatever happens to the data, even when that data is a disaster. As the economy sinks, the official definition of normal sinks right along with it. The downturn simply gets absorbed into the newly defined baseline, and the damage becomes invisible to the gauge. Researchers at The Lagging Truth decided to measure what this mechanical absorption actually costs. They audited 5 real systems, looking for the exact dollar amounts lost to the math, using only public data. This chart shows how the central bank statistical tool handled 2010. As economic output fell and stayed flat, the tool simply pulled its trend line down to match. By lowering its definition of potential, the math declared the recession over. The economy never actually climbed back to its old track. The track was moved down to the economy. On the day the tool declared recovery, 15 million Americans were still unemployed. The same error exists in bank safety rules. After the last financial crisis, regulators required banks to save extra rainy day money whenever borrowing climbed too far above its own long-run trend. The trigger seems perfectly reasonable until you realize that long-run trend is a trailing average of the borrowing itself. It is a speed limit sign that watches the traffic. When all the banks speed up together, the posted limit quietly rises. During the exact borrowing boom this rule was built to catch, the trend absorbed about 81% of the boom into its own definition of normal. As written, that math error cost roughly $154 billion of rainy day money the gauge never called for. The flaw trickles all the way down to individual retirees. Every year, Social Security checks get a raise to keep up with inflation, but the math is computed by comparing last year's prices to the year before. By construction, it is delayed. It is the mathematical equivalent of paying this month's grocery bill with a budget set from last year's receipts. Across the most recent surge in prices, that delay meant the raise fell short, costing roughly $1,400 per retiree. The obvious arithmetic repair is to run the exact same legal formula 4 times a year instead of once. When the researchers tested this, it tracked real inflation with 38% less error, at 0 extra cost. But the research design carried a strict pre-committed rule. To be proven better, a reform had to cut the error by at least 50%. 38 falls short of 50. The paper records its own fix purely as measured but not proven. The final 2 audits confirmed the scale of the problem. Public pension books falsely read high in 8 out of 8 downturn years measured. And when tested globally across the United States, the United Kingdom, the Euro area, Japan, and South Korea, the math tilted the exact same way, 5 out of 5 times. The researchers suggest an embarrassingly simple solution. We don't need to replace the official yardsticks, we just need to keep a second gauge running beside them. This diagram illustrates how that math works. Take a fast-moving average and subtract a slow-moving average of the same numbers. When conditions turn, the fast line moves first, and a gap sharply opens. That expanding gap is the alarm. It speaks up precisely when the official yardstick begins to lie. It's like noticing a fever. You compare your temperature now against your normal. To prove it works, the paper ends with a rigid accountability mechanism. The researchers registered 3 dated bets on the next economic downturn, written in public and gradable by anyone using public data by summer 2031. The bets only activate if their specific triggers arrive. At the next recession, the credit gauge will understate the risk. After the next inflation surge, the first Social Security raise will fall short. At the next big market decline, pension books will read high. The full paper is called the Adaptation Tax. It includes a plain English companion written for humans, and both are completely free to read at The Lagging Truth. Think back to the bathroom scale one last time. Nobody bent it. It re-zeros because of what it is. And what it is quietly decides interest rates, bank cushions, retirement raises, and pension health, which means the tax in the title was never hypothetical.